Hey guys, we're going to make some sugar cookies today. So I'm going to go through all the steps and I will share the recipe with you guys after we're done. Okay, so the first step is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. That should take about 5 or 10 minutes. Then we have to get our ingredients, and we need flour, baking soda, which is in this big container here, salt, right there, butter, and your butter should be softened. So this has been sitting out for a few hours. You will need 1 cup, which is actually 2 sticks of butter. And if you look here, you can see that 8 tablespoons equals a half cup, and 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1. So I have 2 sticks of butter. You also need sugar. I have sugar right here. You need brown sugar. You need vanilla, baking powder, and an egg. And I didn't get that out yet. So the first thing I'm going to do is mix the butter in my mixing bowl. And when that is all mixed, I'm going to add in my egg. When your butter looks like this, then you can add in your egg. I should also tell you, for your measuring, you will need a measuring cup, 1 cup, 3/4 cup. You will need a teaspoon, which is a smaller measuring utensil. You'll need a 1/2 teaspoon. You'll also need a tablespoon and a 1/4 cup measurement. And we're going to go through how you can kind of find ways to make those if you don't have them at your house. Okay, next I'm going to put in my 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So there's 1, and then I'm going to add 1. So it might get kind of liquidy because not everything is mixed completely together. So what I did was just scrape down the sides, and now I am going to just continue to let it mix a little more. Then I'm going to put my dry ingredients together and then add that into my mixing bowl. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is add my dry ingredients to a little bowl. So I have 2 3/4 cups of flour that I need. So there's 1. And 2. Now, if you do not have a 3/4 cup measuring cup, you can either do 3/4 cups, which is this little guy. So you could do 1/4 3 times, so that's 3/4, or you could do 1/2 cup plus 1/4 cup, and that would also be 3/4 cup. I'm just going to use this guy 3 times. I need a teaspoon of baking soda. So I only had a half teaspoon, so I just used 2 half teaspoons, which equals 1. Next is a half teaspoon of salt. Actually, baking powder. Half teaspoon of baking powder, then a half teaspoon of salt. So here's my baking powder. Baking powder and baking soda are different, so make sure you know the difference. And salt. And salt we add to cookies and things like that because it brings out the sweetness. Alright, so then we have a cup of sugar and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. So here's my cup of sugar. Then my 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Sugar here and my tablespoon. It's the TBSP, it's the bigger one. Teaspoon is smaller. So I'm going to put 1 and 2 into that guy. Alright, now I have to mix them, and I'm going to have to mix them carefully because it's kind of full. Alright, so this is my mixture. Now I'm going to turn my mixer back on, and I'm going to add in a little bit at a time the dry ingredients. If you add it all at once, it's going to go flying everywhere, so I'm just going to add a little bit at a time until it's all in there, and then it will look like cookie dough. Alright. So, my dough is mixed. Now I am going to start making these into little dough balls, and I'm going to put them on a baking sheet, which looks like this. I lined it with, this is a silicone tray liner. It just helps keep my pans a little clean, and you can also use parchment paper, or you don't have to use anything at all. This just makes it easier to clean up. So I'm going to do that, and I will show you what they look like when I'm done. One thing I forgot to say is that you also need a little bowl of sugar to put your cookies in after you roll them. That will just help to make your cookies less sticky. So I just grabbed some dough. I rolled it around in my hands. After it's nice and round, then I'm going to throw it in the sugar, just coat it on all sides. It's like you're rolling a snowball, and then put it on your baking sheet. You're going to want to spread them out because they will spread when they're baking, and you don't want it to have one gigantic sugar cookie. So you kind of spread them out. So when you're finished, this is what your pan, why it's blurry, should look like. I have 12 on this pan, which is a pretty big pan, but they're spread out so that you can allow them some room to spread. I'm going to put them into the oven for 7 to 8 minutes, but just check on them because you don't want them to burn. When they look, when they flattened out and look kind of golden but not brown, they should be ready to take out. Okay, so they just came out of the oven. It's probably was about 7 to 8 minutes. I got them out before they got too dark because you don't want them burnt. You really need to take these off the pan as soon as they come out because if they're on the hot pan, they'll continue to cook and they could burn. So I'm going to remove these, put them on a rack to dry, to cool, and then I'll show you what they look like. Okay, so these guys came out a little bit better. They spread out a little bit more, probably because the pan was thinner. But you can see that I had these two guys a little too close, so they're like melting into each other. So that's why I have to spread them out. Anyway, they look good. They're done. So that is what they look like when they are finished. And I put them on a cooling rack over here. So these are the ones that I took out first. So you can see that we also made peanut butter blossoms underneath. They have the Hershey Kisses on top. Some have hugs. I didn't share that with you guys because I have some of our friends have peanut allergies, so it wouldn't be fair to share something that not everyone can make. But these are the sugar cookies. They came out really well, and I hope you get to make them. And if you do, please let me know. Have a great snow day, guys. Bye.